Hi, welcome back. It's Darrell from Foreign Exchange Blu-ray Imports. Past 2 days, I've gotten an unusually large number of packages that have arrived. So after our usual Tuesday off, come back on Wednesday with a ton of stuff to open and to put out on the shelves. So welcome to the latest installment of 1080 Passport. This is going to be a Jumbo Deluxe Edition, apparently. So let's go ahead and get started. There's a lot to do. So the first thing we're going to get here is actually, I suspect that this very damaged package, which, yes, has the, I'm going to cover up the address there, but has numerous stamps on it indicating that this was very damaged when they got it and processed it. But I had a couple of items that shipped from one of the British e-tailers that I used a little over a month ago. And then once I hit the 1 month mark, I messaged them. I'm like, hey, I ordered these movies. They still haven't showed up yet. And so they responded back to me like, okay, you need to fill out this form and you need to answer certain questions for us. But before I'd even gotten to that, this showed up today, and it's in a very compromised state. So we're going to go ahead and open this up, and we'll see. I've had instances before where I'll get a box like this where it's been damaged, and there's literally nothing but a receipt inside. So who knows? Maybe there'll be 3 movies, maybe there'll be 1, maybe there'll be none. We shall see. Moment of truth. Let's see. All right, we have something. Okay. All right, so it turned out this is actually not the thing that's been missing for a month that I thought it was. This is actually a couple of titles that were recently requested by one of the store's regulars. Thankfully, they appear to be in decent shape. We have Short Night of Glass Dolls by Aldo Lado, and again, these are requests. I know nothing about these movies other than that fact that they're from 88 Films, which is a British label that started out mostly doing like horror and slasher movies, and then has kind of veered into doing Italian films. Like I know that the Polizio Tesci movies that I've carried come from them. They've moved into doing movies by the Shaw Brothers, and they just recently announced they're now going to start doing Korean movies. So that's very interesting. And the other one is a movie called The First Power that stars Lou Diamond Phillips. It says here that it is written and directed by Robert Resnikoff. And I don't know anything about these movies, but I'm sure the guy that asked for them will be enjoying them very much. Especially because they didn't show up damaged, which I was very afraid they would be when I saw the condition of that box. All right, so up next we have another red box. This was also a title that was suggested to me. It's by Yuli Lomel is the director, and is a movie called Bogey or Boogeyman. It's spelled Bogey, but I suspect it's pronounced Boogie. So, yeah, this comes recommended. Again, it's not the sort of thing that I know a lot about, but you got to give the people what they want. What else do we have? Oh, a restock of The Pianist by Roman Polanski, very popular title. Adrian Brody won an Academy Award for Best Actor for this, and famously rushed on stage and kissed Halle Berry very hard. Probably don't feel so great about that now, but at the time it was a thing. Wow, all these red cases. And we have a second copy of the Bogey / Boogeyman. One of these will be turned into the store's reference copy, and then the other one I suspect will probably be bought by the person that suggested. Maybe, maybe not. We'll see. So moving on, let's see what else came in. Sometimes you can look at the top of these, and if it has information about like the cost of stuff, you can get an idea of what it actually is that came in. Oh, I don't want to do that because that will block the camera. All right. Wow, I'm surprised this came in so quickly. I thought it would take longer. We have a restock of Vengeance by Johnny To. It's a film where Johnny To, the great Hong Kong director, made a movie with 60s French pop idol Johnny Hallyday. Although Hallyday now obviously is much older. And I remember in high school, I took French class in high school, and our French teacher, this woman in Hawaii who was a subscriber to Le Monde, the big sort of like the celebrity. It was like the print version of TMZ for French celebrities, and she would always tell us these stories about Johnny Hallyday and who he was with, and who he was cheating on, and all this stuff, and it was ridiculous. So yeah, this guy was like, I guess he's thought of as sort of like the French Elvis Presley, and so he's in this movie, which actually I've seen. This is a pretty good movie. He's in this movie with a lot of the other actors that you recognize from Johnny To's movies, like Sweat Lamb is the guy I always think of. I mean, if you've seen Johnny To's films, you probably would recognize Sweat Lamb. He's in a lot of them. He's got a very distinctive look. But yeah, he's one of the guys in this, and it's good stuff. But yeah, I think we kind of went through a phase after the financial crisis where financing for films got really hard to get. And you definitely did notice a lot of filmmakers from working with these sort of established sort of properties, a lot of them from Western countries. So for instance, you had Johnny To working with Halliday, you had Hong Sang-soo making a movie with Isabelle Huppert, you had Abbas Kiarostami making a movie with Juliette Binoche. The extent to which, I'm sure it's a combination of, they genuinely wanted to work with those actors. I mean, especially in the case of Binoche and Huppert. I mean, they're among the finest actresses in the world. I suspect most directors would want to work for them, but I suspect that there is also probably, box office potential as part of making those arrangements. But that's just my unfounded speculation. You can take it for what it's worth. Also have a restock of a movie called Deep End by Jerzy Skolimowski. this is a title that I started adding in a few months ago, and it's sold really well. It's very popular. I guess this is sort of a coming-of-age story. This young guy gets a job, and there's a very attractive redheaded girl in the office. I think her name is Jane Asher, is the actress. And this was a huge role for her, if I'm correct. I think she got like an Oscar nomination for it. So it was definitely a big deal. And yeah, no, I know a lot of customers see this and they're very excited about the fact that the store has it. So yeah, it's pretty neat. Next up, this is actually a title that one of my regulars requested. It's a movie called Amok. I guess the director is Silvio Amadeo. Again, it's a request. I don't really know very much about it. But yeah, it's something I've kind of seen mentioned a lot on forums. Again, another one of those 88 Films titles. So yeah, probably not the last time we see this one. And last in this shipment is something that is a new addition to the shop's inventory. It's a title that seems to have generated a lot of interest. It's a movie called Electric Dreams. The director is, who is the director? Steve Barron is the director of Electric Dreams. And apparently this is a very sort of, never seen it. It's a very 80s-tastic. On the back it has, under the director's name, it says original songs by Culture Club, Heaven 17, Jeff Lynne, and Giorgio Moroder, and Phil Oakey, which, if you are old and washed like I am, you know those names. And yeah, so this is, it says here, one of the classic films of the 80s. So this is definitely a picture where I feel like nostalgia is going to be part of the equation for some folks. But no, this is a film that you kind of see talk about. I think over the last few years it's popped up from time to time on the repertory circuit around town. And it's definitely something that, you know, I had a couple of customers interested in. I know for a long time the best price on it was on Amazon UK, but they had it as a Prime exclusive, which, you know, generally speaking, when something goes on Prime exclusive on Amazon, normally it's for like a weekend or for a couple of days. This went on Prime exclusive for a really long time. I don't know exactly how long. I gotta say it was probably like a month to 6 weeks, and that's unusual. I'm not used to seeing things on that long, and it's kind of awkward when you have people asking about something and you got to tell them like, okay, look, right now, far and away the best price is Amazon, but you know, and I can put it in an order with 10 other movies to kind of mitigate the shipping, theoretically, but it's a Prime exclusive. They, you know, and as an American, I can't get Amazon Prime UK. So either we get it from somewhere else and you gotta pay $4 or $6 more, or we wait. And you know, it's one of those things where you've either got money or you've got time. And in this case, eventually it did come off Prime exclusive, and that's when I went ahead and ordered a couple copies. And so now it's in the inventory. I'll have a reference copy. All right, so let's go ahead and open this one up. See what else came. So this is an order from France. I think most of these are restocks. This is Crime and Punishment, is a sort of a modernized update that stars Jean Gabin, the great Jean Gabin, as an inspector who is hunting down the clues, in this case, of a killing. If you're familiar with the famous Dostoevsky novel, I don't really feel like it's a lot of spoilers to kind of be like, well, you know, there's a guy that kills somebody and, you know, he's kind of sweating out the fact that, you know, are they going to catch him or they're not going to catch him? So The director is Georges Lampin, who is not someone I'm really familiar with. I don't know like what his career was like other than this, but you know, if it's a crime movie and it's got Jean Gabin, you're in pretty good shape. This is another restock. It's a French Can-Can. Also a Jean Gabin movie. This one directed by Jean Renoir. This is one of the films that he made after his stint in America. Of course, Jean Renoir had the great run in the 30s of too many classics to name. And then after his last film in France flopped, and also because of what was happening with World War II, he came to the United States. He worked in Hollywood. I feel like most people generally tend to think that his Hollywood work isn't that great. I mean, I've seen a lot of those films. There are definitely touches of his personality to them in movies like, The Southerner, or what's the movie he made with, I think it was Charles Lawton and Maureen O'Hara. But yeah, I mean, they're not on the level of his greatest works. And then, of course, afterwards he returned to France, and there was a whole other act where he made movies like this, and Elena and Her Men, and The Golden Coach. And then even after that, you had movies like The River, which I think it was pretty safe to say it's shot in India. Yeah, so he had way more as far as things left to offer beyond that. So yeah, this is great. All right, this next one is a new addition to the store's inventory. It is Blonde Venus by Joseph von Sternberg, starring the great Marlene Dietrich. And I believe this is the gorilla suit one, the one where she comes out and does the number where she's in the gorilla suit, and she takes that suit off. And wow, this is, I think the last time I saw this movie was, actually, the last time I saw it was I rented the DVD set from one of the local video stores. They had a box of Marlene Dietrich films, Paramount films from like the early 30s. And this was one of the ones in that. And I think probably the time before that was, I think I saw it at the New Beverly, maybe a year or two before that. So yeah, the fact that this is out on Blu-ray, it's a huge deal. I mean, it doesn't get much better than Sternberg and Marlene Dietrich as far as pairings of directors and lead actresses. So one of the great collaborations in film history. Any chance you get to see any of those movies, Scarlet Empress or Shanghai Express, yeah, see them. All right, so this is another restock. It's a movie called, well, I believe the French call it Blue Jean Cop. In America, I think it's known as Shakedown. It's a movie by James Glickenhaus, who is also known as the director of Exterminator 2. Funny enough, he apparently didn't make that many movies, and he got out of filmmaking, and I might not quite have this right, but I think he kind of went into the financial world, like in some sort of something to do like hedge funds or investing or something, and apparently he's like fabulously rich now. Like he went and he had that whole other sort of phase of his life where he became very successful in the financial sector. But before that, he was a film director, and he made movies like Blue Jean Cop, which stars Peter Weller, which of course everybody knows from RoboCop, and Sam Neill as that guy with the great voice from all those movies. Of course, probably the most famous one being, the guy, Big Lebowski, the guy at the bar in the bowling alley. Yeah, so great stuff. I've actually watched this, and yeah, it's definitely got that sort of 80s vibe, that 80s cop movie vibe. It's a very enjoyable movie. One more restock is a movie called Three Seats for the 26th by Jacques Demy. I believe this was Jacques Demy's final film. He died far too young. I believe he had cancer of some sort, and unfortunately he passed away. I think he was still in his 40s, maybe like late 40s or right around 50 when he passed. But he made this movie in which is very kind of a meta type of thing where Yves Montand plays basically Yves Montand, who is the lead in a play based on his own life. So you have the real Yves Montand playing the film version of Yves Montand, who is in a stage production where he plays as the stage Yves Montand. It's pretty neat. And this, of course, with Jacques Demy, he's known for these great musical numbers in movies like, The Umbrellas of Cherbourg, Young Girls of Rochefort. And yeah, there's an opening music number in this, which I tell people a lot of times reminds me of like if he was doing a cover of like the Pointer Sisters, I'm So Excited. It's just the way it's shot. It's very 80s-tastic. But it's definitely something you gotta see. It's pretty wild. These last two are things that I think initially, it's kind of weird. Normally, like I'll do sort of like a research and development type of thing where I'll order one copy. And that's kind of what I was thinking of in terms of when I ordered these two. And we have, I don't remember what this translates as, but it's a film that stars Alain Delon, the great French actor. And this is from 1977, so it's skewing more towards his later career. And who's the director on this? I think is it Michel? Does it say Michel? Oh, a film by George Lautner. George Lautner, actually, is this one also by? Yeah, this is also. So these are both by George Lautner, who is a French director who tended to skew more towards doing these sort of crime movies, these sort of, these sort of gritty underbelly, sort of, cops and crooks kind of things. So yeah, initially, I think what I was initially thinking was, oh, well, I'll order one and I'll take a look at them and then decide whether I really want to add them to the inventory. But the thing is, it's like, I'm pretty sure both of these got reviewed by Blu-ray.com, and they got solid reviews, and it's just one of those things where I think at a later point, I just went ahead and ordered, an extra copy of both of them. Normally I would get these in and I would watch them, but there wasn't really a need to do that in this case, because of the fact that they've already, they've got pretty thorough reviews. So it's not like I don't know what I'm getting with these. So yeah, once the second copies of these come in, then I'll be adding them to the inventory, but it shouldn't be too much longer. I think that second order came within a couple of days.